Hi, this is WhaTap. We would like to bring your attention to today's training session on so-called Application Performance Management, also known as APM. There are several application languages, but we'll use the Java application screen today as an example to introduce you to WhaTap. For your information, the UI is pretty much the same for all languages. Okay, let's get it started. There is something moving in the dashboard in a section known as Active Transaction Speed Chart. This represents a transaction. The 4 active sections indicated here means that transactions are currently happening and passing through the WAS. In short, they are in progress. Let's start with the active transaction. In this current example, we have implanted WhaTap agents in 6 WAS. So, the pie is divided into 6 compartments, and when you try to take a closer look, the names of the monitored targets appear. The number 269 here refers to the number of transactions that are still active inside the WAS. It shows the processing speed of a transaction in blue, yellow, and red colors for 0 to 3 seconds, 3 to 8 seconds, and more than 8 seconds. And if there is a delayed transaction and you would like to see the details and the SQL, then simply click here. To the left of that, active status shows a summarized view of what the monitored targets are doing. We define whether the current transaction is executing SQL, HTTPC, DB connection, or socket communication, which can be fatal if delayed, and other things by method. Once the active transactions have been processed, you can see the response time of the transaction and the time it was processed in the heat map, which is on the right. We'll explain a bit. APDEX stands for Application Performance Index. APDEX is not a term from WhaTap, but an industry-standard term that measures user satisfaction with the response time of web applications and services. Instead of traditional metrics like average response time, which are easily skewed, metrics like APDEX score and dissatisfaction rate can help you see how satisfied users are with your application. Next is TPS. This stands for transaction per second. By clicking the button at the top of each metric, you can view a graph per agent or open a detailed view pop-up. On the right side, you can also see today's TPS and the number of users. This is where you can also compare the metrics of today from yesterday. Now to the average response time. These graphs can be viewed per agent and also in detail. You can also see the system CPU in the details. Next is the heap memory. If you go into the details, you can see 2 things, the maximum size of the heap and the actual heap usage. The number of concurrent users is measured by IP by default. It is the value after removing duplicate IPs from users who have made transactions within 5 minutes. This could be cookie-based or something that can measure IPs, such as X forwarded for in the HTTP header value, depending on the situation. And the HIT map. You can drag on the HIT map to view transactions in detail. Let's move to the larger screen, where you first need to select the time period for which you want to see information about the transactions. The dots in the HIT map represent transactions. The y-axis is the time a transaction took to respond. The x-axis is the end time of a transaction. If you want to see the trace of a transaction in the HIT map, you can simply drag the time range you want, and the details of the transactions in the selected box will be provided. Let's go ahead and click on one of them. There is a new pop-up. This is the start and the end time of this specific transaction, and the total time that the transaction has been running is displayed in MS. And you can see which was this transaction came from with a name. Also, the client IP is provided. The overall duration of this transaction is shown in a colored bar graph at the top. What each color represents is written in small print below, and clicking on them will take you to that item. Below, you can see how long each step of the transaction took and what it did. For example, if you click on the SQL statement, you can see the full SQL statement, the binding variables, and substitution variables. And then, you can encrypt those variables so that only the people with permission or access can see them. In the middle, you'll see an item called Active Stack. The active stack automatically collects stacks that are dumped every 10 seconds from an active transaction, so let's click on it. When you click it, an additional pop-up window will appear, showing the stack information collected for the class and method being executed. This feature is available in Java, Python, and .NET, which is the language of the stack structure. There's also a tab called Multi-Transaction. Multi-transaction is a transaction that is associated with another agent or project. Tracking of calls between multiple related application services is multi-transaction tracing. It provides transaction and trace information so that you can understand the various call relationships within and between systems at a glance and identify where problems occurred so that you can improve them. If you are using WhaTap's log monitoring feature, you can also collect and view only the logs that are related to a specific transaction. Let's move on to Flexboard. This helps you configure your own customized dashboards. Click Create Dashboard in the top right corner. On the screen that appears, let's name the new Flexboard Test_Dashboard, and for the purposes of this video, we'll select the fixed layout on the left. You'll then see a blank screen with a tab called Edit Mode, which you can pull out by looking at the widgets on the left. You can also tap All Metrics at the top to see which metrics are being collected by WhaTap. The widgets can be freely adjusted in size, position, etc. You can configure it from scratch, or you may use pre-configured templates. Now to the Metrics Chart tab. On this tab, you can see what metrics the agent is collecting. For example, I pulled out the database entries, where I pulled out the DB pool count, DB active count, and DB idle count. The currently selected time range is for 24 hours, and the plotted graph represents the data as 5-minute statistics. However, for real-time metrics such as the number of DB pools, it's better to view raw data rather than statistical data. If you select a time range within 3 hours from the pulled metrics, you can view raw data by 5 seconds range. In addition to this, you can also pull out items and resources related to GC or heap. Next is the Stack tab. We have the active stack, which we discussed earlier, and next to it we see the unique stack. The unique stack provides data based on the exact call information across the stack trace. It provides information that is useful for understanding detailed call relationships. For example, you can identify a stack trace with a high percentage of red flags. A unique stack can help you identify the presence of anomalous modules along the call path through a detailed call step review. By default, the stack is understood to be executed in a bottom-to-top direction, This is top stack. Top stack can be viewed as a statistic about the stack, so it's best to make judgments based on enough data. The top stack provides a percentage breakdown of calls to and from each step on the stack trace. Top stacks can help you identify points to be tuned that you might not have noticed when tuning. The stack that appears most frequently can be judged as the one that is currently causing the most response latency on your application server. The percentage of appearances on the far left can be thought of as the degree to which they are impacting application server performance. Next is performance trends. This screen brings together metrics that are related to each other. The first thing you need to do is select a time frame. We provide 5-second raw data if the lookup range is 3 hours or less, 5 minutes of statistics if the lookup range is 1 day or less, and 1 hour of statistics if the lookup range is more than 1 day. On this screen, you can check various metrics and also see the top 10 HTTP, top 10 SQL, top 10 transactions that are called frequently. Next is the Statistics tab. The Statistics tab allows you to generate and sort statistics for transactions, errors, SQL, and more. For example, let's go to SQL statistics. I've selected a time range of 24 hours and can sort by average time, total time, number of errors, etc. Finally, let's take a look at the Alert Notifications tab. Let's go to the Event settings. For example, if the server's memory utilization stays above 70% and lasts for 30 seconds, we will alarm the first time and not repeat the alarm for the next 5 minutes. On the Alarms tab, you can select alarms for any metric the agent collects, trigger alarms based on anomalous patterns in Heatmap, or set up alerts for specific log keywords on the Log Alerts tab. The log keyword alert feature is available only with WhaTap's log monitoring product. Let's go to the Event Reception Setting tab. In this tab, you can check the settings to receive alerts via email, SMS, and third-party platform. Third parties include Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, Teams, and webhooks, and the integration method may vary depending on whether you are using WhaTap as SaaS, on-premise, or hybrid. Thank you so much for watching the APM tutorial.